When I made that decision to not go back to school, I didn't know what to do. I had a deep depression. That was the most embarrassing stage of my life. Everybody knew me as the hooper, a high level guy too, a competitor. That broke me. That broke me. I looked in the mirror one day and just, I hadn't been working out, drinking, eating whatever I want just to get over the depression. Nobody understand what I'm going through. And I looked in the mirror one day and my body I never saw my body look like this ever. I'm like, man, fuck this.
Welcome to the Willpower Podcast. All right, Chris, let's get right into it. So being a D1 basketball player, that's like a crazy accomplishment in itself, but let's start from like the beginning. How did you get into basketball? Like, were you an athlete growing up? Were you always into sports? How did that begin?
Yeah, so basketball is in my blood, man. My dad was fortunate enough to play at Georgetown University in Washington, D.C. Won a national championship there, and he was drafted to the NBA. So he only stayed there for about 2 years and ended up going overseas after that. But basketball is in my blood, and I kind of just took a love for the game probably around like 5, 6, and started to play seriously when I was 8. And that was my life, ever since then. So.
And what position?
Yeah, so I played point guard, shooting guard. I'm a shorter guy for basketball. I'm only about 6 feet tall. The average height now is what, 6'4", 6'6". So that was really my only option. I made it work. When you're my size in D1, you got to be tough. You got to be scrappy. You got to have some grit, and you definitely got to be mentally tough. So it definitely taught me a lot about life, and I definitely developed some skills that transferred to me being an adult, being a grown man, and definitely benefited me.
Yeah, man, that's insane. I'm 5'11", and the thought of like I'm typically like a pretty average height
Hmm.
person, maybe a little bit above average, but yeah, the thought of being around all people that are taller than you and being 6 foot that's crazy.
Yeah, bro, I'm like a midget when I go see like my old teammates and stuff. I'm like midget next to them. I'm definitely the shortest one all the time. But like I said, man, it really just goes to show, not trying to toot my own horn, but how much different you have to be, how much better you have to be at that size to get to that level.
Yeah, dude. There's some stat that like I would have to look up exactly what it is, but it's something like every inch you gain, it doubles your chance of being in the NBA. So
Yeah, I can
like
believe that.
being 6'1" versus being 6 foot is like an X, and then 6'2" versus 6'1" is another 2X. And there's an even more crazy stat, which is something like 1 in 4 7 foot like people, 7-footer, just like humans, go into the NBA. It's something crazy like that.
Yeah, see, I'm not surprised by that at all. And even like, I mean, the game is really political. You'll have people that you might be better than, but just because they got that height advantage over you, they might be 4 inches taller than you. They'll go to the high major school, or the coach will favor them. Just, it sucks, but it's real life. It's part of the games. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, different opportunities for different. Yeah,
Oh
that
yeah.
makes sense, man. So what was that like going to college and being like a full-time athlete at the same time?
Oh, man, it was probably one of the most difficult experiences in my life, man. It was humbling, because I was always the best player on my team in high school coming up. I was fortunate enough to play with guys who made it to the NBA, and so I thought I was the shit, and then you get to college, and I go to college at 170 pounds, and I got in that weight room, and my life changed. I couldn't hang. When I got on the court, I got bullied around, and we had like this tough. The strength coach ended up leaving, but we had this tough strength coach, like Olympic weightlifting football type of guy. He would I get, what is that, dip, like chew on dip while he's coaching us, and he's just, get the fucking weight up, Chris. Oh, what the fuck? Always in my ear yelling at me, Chris, what is this freshman bullshit? So it was a lot of that stuff, man. It made me mentally tough. And, so that was one obstacle. And then, dealing with the coaches, like I said earlier, the coaches play political games. One day they like you, one day they don't like you. And then there's days where you feel like they just fucking with you. You feel like, dang, I can't do anything right. And, but, college was great because Met some of my best friends. One of my roommates there. I'm the godfather of his daughters, and so overall, I think that was the experience that made me into the man I am today more than anything else. But man, it was challenging. Definitely the most difficult time of my life, but I'm glad I went through it.
Yeah, man. I just had another athlete on. He was a track
Hmm.
athlete in college, and he said like the structure of having like so much to do in college, like he had to fit his classes in, then he also had to fit
Hmm.
training in, and it was basically like leave at 6 a.m., get home at 10 p.m. And he said
Literally,
that structure really carried forward into his normal life, like his life after athletics and after college. So I'm curious if you notice anything like that, where like just having that rigidity and even having like these crazy coaches screaming at you all the time, like did that
man.
carry forward with you?
Yeah, so a lot of people don't know, how difficult that life is for a student athlete. You get up, you got breakfast, and minimum 3 workouts a day. I mean, we're talking about weights, you got conditioning, and you got skill work, and sometimes you might have some teamwork too, where you can have. I think in the off season, it's like 3 guys or 4 guys on the court at once, whatever the rule is. So you're looking at 3, 4 workouts a day, study hall, homework, tutors, and it's tough, man. It's exhausting mentally and physically. And so I'm used to that. People think that student athletes don't do their work. Like they think someone's doing the work for us. Like, nah, if I got a test, I'm doing that whole day and I'm up studying. I'm up doing homework. And if you don't have the 2.5 GPA or 2.0 GPA, which isn't hard to keep, but if you don't have that, you don't play. So it really changes you. And then when you get into the real world, it's a gift and a curse, because now if I'm like just sitting around chilling, I know you're big on this too, because you deleted YouTube off of your phone or blocked YouTube from your phone. But if I'm sitting around and I'm not doing anything, I just feel like I got to be productive. I got to find something to do, and I literally force myself to be productive in some way, which is the gift. But it's kind of a curse too, because you can kind of lose your mind when you get in that mindset sometimes. Sometimes you just need to rest your brain. But definitely that schedule is it's rigorous, man.
Yeah, that's a hard one. Like the constantly feeling like you need to be doing something, but sometimes the thing you need to be doing is like just resting and chilling out for a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm getting to the point now where it's like, all right, this might be a sign where it's time to chill, just relax, enjoy it, get back to work tomorrow. It's 10 o'clock at night. Go to bed. How about that?
Yeah, there are things because for me, I've noticed there are certain things where like there are times when rest is important, 100%.
Oh
But
yeah.
there are also ways that my brain will kind of maneuver, and it'll be
Hmm.
like, "Oh, you need a rest. Let's watch some YouTube." And it's like, dude, that's not resting. Like that's not helping me out at
Yeah,
all.
yeah, yeah.
But
No,
there are definitely other like getting to bed on time. That's super important.
it
Or
is.
like taking a relaxing walk with my dog. Like
Hmm.
that's a very relaxing, restful thing. So definitely
Definitely.
recognizing when I need rest is important, but also not letting my crazy addict's brain take over and be like, dude, we gotta be like watching a movie or something.
Man, it's like when I'm getting ready to go to bed, right? Cut the light off. Then my mind just starts racing. I'm like, dang, I got an idea. I got to write this down before I'm going to need this one, because I'm going to forget it. I won't remember it in the morning. So I don't know. Does that happen to you too, where it's just like your mind just start racing at night?
But dude, yeah, 100%. One thing I've learned for that is and this is what I do every night. I just write. I used to do it in a notebook. Now I have like this Kindle Scribe. It's like a tablet with a pencil thing.
Hmm.
But it basically just every night I just write like a full page. It's not even like good writing or anything. It's just like
Yeah.
stream of consciousness. Whatever's on my mind, I just write it out on a page, and then it's all gone. It's like clear.
Okay. I might
So
have to
that's one
try
thing
that.
I've heard is if you just write out whatever's coming into your mind, that tends to it's like a brain dump, and you just kind of get it all out, and then it's you can get to better easier. And also then like if something genuinely good comes out, like you got it down on paper. You remember
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. I'm using the iPhone app, so I might have to upgrade and get the Kindle. Just no, seriously, man, because you hit on it when you came on my podcast, man. You get on that phone and it can get addicting.
Mhm.
And so I am on social media a lot, but I try to stay off it if I'm not posting.
Dude, 100%. I mean, those things are meant to like be entertaining and be super captivating, and they're good at it. They're really good at what they do, which is
Yeah.
pull you in and get you to continue consuming. So
Yeah. Definitely. Yep.
it's good to be aware of that.
Hmm.
Okay, so let's talk about the step like after basketball. Well, I mean, first of all, what was it like to like stop playing competitively? Was that a hard transition to make, or what was that like?
Well, man, that was probably the next most difficult thing, man. When you grow up, and this is common with basketball, football, baseball. Those are probably the top three, but maybe soccer too. But I know it's so competitive when you're young, and you get to the point where it's like every weekend it's a tournament, every weekend there's a camp, every weekend you have some type of training, and you kind of just grow up in that, and you don't do anything else. You don't focus anything on anything else. You don't know who you are. So when basketball stopped, after I graduated, I had an extra year to play because I redshirted a year. But after that year, I did a year of grad school, and I didn't want to do grad school after I was done hooping. I did it for the free year, for the free tuition, obviously, so I can play ball. But when I made that decision to not go back to school, I didn't know what to do, and I had a deep depression. I tried to play professional overseas. That didn't necessarily work out, and I had a deep depression, man. I turned to alcohol, got a job at the front desk at the local gym, and there were a lot of coaches and former teammates and girlfriends coming through. And when I tell you that was the most embarrassing stage of my life, everybody knew me as the hooper, a high level guy too, a competitor. That broke me, man. That broke me, and I hated basketball for a while, and I never wanted to touch a basketball again. And so, I looked in the mirror one day and just, I hadn't been working out, drinking, eating whatever I want just to get over the depression. Nobody understand what I'm going through. And I looked in the mirror one day, and my body I never saw my body look like this ever. So I'm like, man, fuck this. I can't walk around like this, man. So I got in the gym heavy. And for some reason, I remember all the workouts we did in college. So I just started doing all the workouts, and my D1 strength and conditioning workouts, started doing them all. And one of the trainers at the gym was like, hey, man, you need to train, man. Like, you are supposed to be a personal trainer. I kept telling him no, right? Because all I know is basketball. I don't want to train. I want to hoop, So finally I told him, yeah, because I went on a couple job interviews with my degree, got rejected on all of them. And let's do it. So he gets me a certification, a discount on the certification for $150. Certifications are like 1,000. So, I mean, 1/10 of the price, damn near, you can't beat that. So, I get the material, and I bullshit, take the test, fail, because I bullshitted. And I'm just, again, basketball didn't work out. Like, bro, what are you going to do? Why are you not taking it serious? So I buckled down, and I still had that front desk job. I switched my hours to overnight, so I don't have the managers in my face and a whole bunch of customers and members trying to sell memberships. And I studied uh, all the certification material every night, and I implemented what I already knew, and the shit I'm learning in the certification, I worked out all night. And if somebody needed something at the front desk, I'll run to the desk. They want a Gatorade protein shake, sell it to them. I'm right back working out, and end up passing. And then one thing led to another. I used my whole basketball network to build my business. So moms of my former teammates, brother, sister, cousin, grandparents, girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife, you name it. And I kind of took off, and I just been going ever since. So, the thing is, you can use that pain and turn it into something positive. You don't have to stay in the dumps forever. And, that's kind of, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about that, because most men, they give up. They don't lock in, and they don't really figure it out. So I got to pat myself on the back a little bit, but that's kind of the transition. It was rough, man.
That's like the stereotypical like college or high school quarterback, right? Is like
Yeah.
they like have a gut now and they talk about their glory days. And I think a lot of guys do get stuck in that, and that's just forever. That's really cool. That obviously it sucks, like that moment of looking in the mirror and being like, "Fuck, what happened?" Like I'm not where I used to be. But the fact that you had that moment is almost a blessing, and then that you were able to take that and turn things back around.
Yeah, no, it definitely is a blessing, man. I'm glad it happened to me because those moments change you, and men, we need that. We need that to get to the next level. So, and what it did for me was now I don't shy away from any challenge, any obstacle. I walk right into it like, "What's up? Let's get it. Let's go." So, that's a skill set that every man needs, and everybody doesn't get it.
Yeah, it's like one of those like dragons that you face. It's like when you face a dragon like that, which is like, whatever this challenging thing that almost threatens to destroy your personality and who you are and your identity as a person and as a man. When you're able to confront that and beat that dragon, then like you now know walking around like, yeah, I beat that shit. Like I already went through that whole thing. I know what I'm capable of. I know I can beat that if it comes up again. So it does almost instill a new confidence that you can bring forward with you.
Definitely, man. And the beautiful thing about it is the people around you can feed off of that energy. So I motivated a lot of other people to get into personal training or get into whatever their next venture was after sports. So, I went from figuring out my own obstacle, figuring out my own experience and being able to inspire others. So, people look at me as a coach outside of fitness too.
Was it difficult for you to stop relying on alcohol? Or was it also like in that moment, did that shift something?
It actually wasn't difficult, man. A lot of people, because I didn't get too far in. I didn't get too far in, and I know I wanted I wanted to excel in my life more than I wanted alcohol. And a lot of people, it's the other way around. They want alcohol more than they want to excel. So thankfully, I didn't get into it that much. And like I said, just being an athlete my whole life and seeing what that did to my body, that turned me off from it. It really did turn me off from it. And then, you get to the point where you realize this isn't making anything better. It's actually making it worse. It's just numbing the pain, but the pain, it comes right back the next morning, literally. So, yeah, man, I didn't get too deep in that. Thank God.
Yeah, I do think like for some people there is like a different something going on, but I think for the most part, relying on substances or relying on whatever it is, it could be like food, porn, alcohol, whatever it is, it's usually a deeper problem. And so I feel like once you confront that thing, those like behaviors tend to be easier to get rid of. But the harder thing is when you try and just get rid of the behavior without actually addressing this issue that's beneath it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. And then, like I said, a lot of people, you kind of mentioned it, where you got the guy talking about his quarterback glory days in high school. A lot of people don't know how to let it go. Till this day, I got people still, they're holding on to the basketball dreams. If it's not them playing, it is, them trying to find the next NBA star, or build the next NBA star, or, be around this person, be around it, be an agent, they're still trying to mooch off of it and have those glory days because they didn't make it. And I kind of just gave that up.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you do have to just like block off like this was a part of my life. Like it happened, but it's done now. That part's over.
Exactly.
And
Yeah,
it doesn't change anything about what it was.
exactly.
Okay, what was it like then to go into personal training? Like how much of your own athletic experience carried over?
Yeah, so as far as structuring a workout and actually going through it, I had a one up on a lot of other fitness coaches and personal trainers because a lot of beginners because it's easy to read a book. It's easy to repeat information that you read. That's not going to do much for you in personal training and fitness coaching. Just being honest with you. So me actually being able to go through a workout was helping me structure, and then just me, being around different teammates. I knew how to communicate with people. Being an athlete, communicating. So you find out that your clients become like family. I got people that's like family till this day from when I started. And so that probably was what I, brought over from athletics the most. And me being so structured with that work ethic and, I mentioned earlier, always having to do something, always having a schedule. It made me realize that I'm like a rare or like a 1% person because people coming to the gym, coming to get a fitness coach, they're lazy. They never been pushed physically. They never been pushed mentally. They never been pushed out of their comfort zone. And so it makes you, realize, why we have the obesity rate we have, why people fall off and let themselves go. And you start to tap into the mental. And a lot of people just, when it comes to health and fitness, it's just not a priority for them. And that was actually a shocker for me because I thought everybody wanted to look good because I wanted to look good. When I looked in the mirror after turning to alcohol to fix my problems and I saw how I looked, I was like, never again. I will never look like that again. And some people just don't care, and, not to get too explicit on your podcast, but, you give somebody a salary and you give them access to sex, they good. They don't care about their body. Seriously. If they have a partner they could lay down with and they have a decent job, they're good. And it's just a reality. So it opened my eyes to a lot.
Right. It's easy to let go of other. Yeah, yeah. And that's an interesting one because I do think for a lot of guys, the only motivator is sex. It's like, oh, I'm motivated because I want to like get the girlfriend that I want
Yep.
or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And yeah,
It's
that is
terrible
kind
motivation.
of, yeah. And that's, I mean, the other thing about that is like, that's sad that stops once you're, because it's like, you're kind of being a shitty partner at that point. If you're like, oh, I'm just going to work hard until I get the girl and then just stop.
Yeah. And
It's
then,
like,
that mindset is going to go into other areas. So, when it comes to dates and gifts and, special times in a relationship, you're going to be shitty there too. So you got to step it up. Always be trying to get better in every area, man.
yep. But I do think there's you got to dig into a lot of motivators. There's so many reasons to exercise and to be in good shape, and it's easy to forget all of them.
Absolutely. Yeah, man.
But how do you work with people who are low, like who don't have the motivation, who aren't like intrinsically motivated? How do you instill that into them?
Yeah, so everyone's different, man. You gotta find that pain point, And currently, most of my clients are women. I train men too, but let's say I have a mom, who's active with the kids and running around. I have to say to her like, if you don't get it together, you ain't gonna be able to run around with these kids, Or let's say I have someone who they work in an office, right? Tell me, let's say they were complaining about their office, their clothes don't work anymore. I mean, their clothes don't fit anymore, right? I'll bring that up, that pain point. You want to go shopping for these new clothes or you want to fit in these same clothes? Just finding a pain point because everyone's different. Different things are going to trigger different people. And those were probably bad examples, but I have my way of doing it with everyone. It's a really personable job. You got to get to know your people. It's not just show up, coach, and go home. Like I said, these are extensions of the family. And the more you know these people, the more you can ask about the kids, the more you can ask about the boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, the better coach you're going to be because obviously, they want to change their bodies, they want to exercise, they're doing it for health, but people want to enjoy the environment they're in. So if I can make it enjoyable and I can touch those pain points and I make them comfortable enough to open up to me and tell me certain things that's hurting them, they could tell me certain things that are bothering them or certain things they're insecure about. It only makes my job better, and that's how one way I can retain clients. Yep.
Does being a personal trainer change your motivation for staying in shape?
Absolutely, man. I can't. And this is very controversial. Not for me. I don't think it's controversial, but for other people. I can't tell you to stay on your meal plan if I'm not on mine. I can't tell you to get your extra cardio in or lift heavier if I'm not challenging myself. So, me just being a man of my word and being accountable and being honest, I got to stay on point. Right. And I think that being a trainer, which I mentioned earlier, it's only going to make me better if I'm going through the workouts. I'm going to know what superset needs to be done. I'm going to know, what muscle group I should hit this day after this day, right? It's only going to make me better. And, a lot of people say, well, a trainer doesn't have to be in shape as long as they have the knowledge And of course, trainer needs to be knowledgeable. Like, duh. I mean, you got people's lives at risk. I mean, you drop a weight the wrong way or they got the wrong form, you can seriously injure someone. So yeah, trainer has to be knowledgeable. But I just honestly feel one, if you want to excel, you got to be able to put yourself through it. It's only going to make you a better coach. And you're a walking business card. I mean, most people are not going to respect you if you don't look the part. And I'm not saying you got to be shredded with a six pack. I'm not saying that. But, just looking like you take care of yourself regularly, it's only going to help. You'll have a few clients that don't care, but I'm telling you, most people are going to respect you and respect what you're saying and respect what you're telling them to do if you look the part. So it's definitely motivational for me to stay on point.
Yeah, that's an interesting argument I've heard about as well. Is like, do you need to be in shape to be a good trainer? And I agree with you what you're saying. I think I'm not saying you can't be a good trainer if you're not in shape, but like people are going to be more attracted to you as a trainer. Like this guy clearly works out, and like there's not one physique you need to strive for, but there are
Exactly.
many different types of healthy looking people. Like it's
Yep.
not like you have to have this one specific type, but you do need to look healthy. Otherwise, again, people aren't going to be drawn towards your coaching.
Exactly.
And then I also agree with this is something that comes up with just having this podcast is like what you're talking about with, like you have to like walk the walk basically.
Hmm.
It's like if you're telling people do this stuff, then you kind of got to do it yourself just as like a proof point. Like I'm doing it, you can do it too. I've definitely had that experience having this like the Willpower podcast. It's like
Hmm.
I have to live up to a certain degree of like discipline and determination and all that just to have integrity with the fact that I'm talking about it. And even
Oh,
if I'm
yeah.
not perfect all the time, I'm always honest. And the point being, I'm striving for that. Like there's never a time where I'm just like, ah, fuck that. I'm just going to be someone else today. Like I'm always going to be this person. Even if I fuck up, even if I can't do it every time, I'm always aiming for that.
Yep. No, definitely, man. As far as training, like I said, man, I wouldn't even feel like myself. I wouldn't even I wouldn't even feel like a legit trainer. Like I would be scared to put myself out there and reach out to people and talk to inquiries if I didn't keep myself in shape. Man, I would feel like a fraud. So that's just me. Hey, I know some people gonna disagree, but that's just me.
So more high level, like what makes your life meaningful now?
So just the fact that I help people, I love it. I love changing lives. And the being a coach is like a personal development journey. So you're learning a lot about people, you're learning a lot about yourself too. So, as I go on this journey, I become a better businessman. So I know what type of clients I want and what type of clients I don't want. I know what I'll put up with and what I won't put up with. But at the same time, I can honestly say I've never quit on someone, you know, as much as they've, put up a lack of effort. Some people have maybe said some disrespectful things to me, and my that's my thing. I never want to quit on someone. They people have quit on me, but I never want to quit because I feel like I can help everybody. I feel like my ability as a coach is going to be tested, and so some people fire clients, and which I get totally. I'm not. I've had to fire one person, but that's another story for another day. You want to know that story? I'm always going to try to push people to their 100% potential because nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. I just told you my story. I told you where I came from. I told you how I felt. To be where I'm at now, it'll be 9 years in March coming up. To be 9 years into the game, and right before I got in this game, I probably hit my lowest point ever. And so I didn't give up on me. And I know that, if I don't give up on other people, I can change their lives too. So that's probably the biggest thing for me now. Yep.
Yeah, you piqued my interest. Would you tell us the story of the one client you had to
But yeah,
fire?
man. So, hey, you know, coaching is a unique career. You got to manage personalities and, some people they have their own issues and whatever you do, it's just not going to help. A lot of people got to battle their own demons on their time, on their own time, not on my time. And so I had basically one girl, she came in and, I don't know, she had a rough weekend. I don't know. She had a death in her family, but she didn't communicate. Most people communicate with me when they got something going on. And she came in with an attitude. It was actually a group session this day. She came in with an attitude, and there was like, I think it was shoulder press. I told her to do 10 reps. She did 5. Like, it was a clear 5. Like, if you did 10 with this weight, you would be gassed. Like, you had to put it down and rest. You clearly didn't do 10, right? Strike 1. Then we did walking lunges, so it was basically, we got like a turf area in the gym. You walk to this maybe, 10, 15 yards. And she went, say if it's 15 yards, she went maybe 12 and then came back 12. So strike 2 was 12 down, strike 3 was 12 on the way back. And I'm like, yo, what's going on? Right? Not in a disrespectful tone, but more in a like, wake up. Come on, we gotta work. We here to work, and we only got a certain amount of time to get this workout in. And that she snapped. I mean, snapped, cussing at me, saying cuss words. So clearly she had some demons she was battling outside of the gym. And I just told her, I said, hey, you could get your stuff and go home if you don't want to be here. And I didn't snap back, even though I wanted to. And so that was it. Never saw her again, refunded her money. And that's probably the only time I had to like actually dismiss someone and get rid of them and get them out of there. So, yeah, man.
Okay. Yeah. And I mean, in this case, it doesn't even sound like, I mean, you gave her the option. It
Yeah,
was like, you're either going to do the workout or there's not really a reason for you to be here. And so,
that's it.
yeah, it is interesting to think about because like you were saying, there are people who go through low points,
Hmm.
but I think they still need to be open to accepting help, at the
I
very
think so
least.
too. Yeah, I think so too.
You're never going to be able to help someone who's not open to accepting help.
Yeah, if you don't want help, you're not going to get help. It's that simple. And I'm not a magician. I'm not a mind reader. And a lot of people just, and I understand because I had my moments when I go through stuff and I don't want to voice it with people, right? And so that's why I try to be, as approachable, as personable as I can, so people, feel comfortable telling me stuff. And but yeah, maybe she'll come back around because I've had people, kind of go ghost when they went through stuff, and then they come back around and it's like, hey, I was going through something, I didn't know how to tell you. So we'll see. But yeah, you definitely got to want the help. I agree with that 1,000%.
So more on like the business side, when did you start your Less Brunches, More Crunches brand right off the bat, or was that like a development along your training?
So that was kind of a development, maybe a year or year and a half in, and it's crazy. So I live in the DC area, and brunch is big here. Like this is like the mecca of brunch, one of the top cities in the country. And so I went with one of my friends to a Soul Cycle class. It was like my first time trying Soul Cycle. And you familiar with Soul Cycle? They got that in Austin, right? No?
They probably do. I don't know. I've never done
Okay.
it.
Yeah, okay, yeah. It's a cycling class. A lot of the girls go to. Some girl drugged me out there and whatever. And then right across the street from that was like a brunch spot. And I have a way with words, rhyming and stuff. Just, jokingly, I wrote that on my story because I posted Soul Cycle and posted brunch. I don't know how I came up with it, less brunches, more crunches. And everyone was like, yo, that's fire. I love that. What is that, like your slogan? And I just went along with it, say yeah. And then, one of my boys was like, put it on the shirt. So I got it on the shirt. I found like a vendor and a printer and came to the gym in that shirt one day and everyone was like, yo, what's that? And it's been going ever since, man. So, as you can see,
That's awesome, dude. You just naturally like moved into that, took it on.
it's very natural, man. No effort at all. So, yep.
That's cool. What is something you're currently struggling with?
Probably say, man, it's this is an obstacle as a trainer. Me and other trainers talk about. There's a lot of online fitness coaches out here, and I have online clients. I actually just got off a call with a potential online client before, but a lot of guys are saying, "Oh, you still train in person? Nah, you got to go 100% online." And I mean, there are people who do it and they're successful at it, but I think most people want to get trained in person. I'm just being honest. And so a lot of people sell courses, and this is no shade to anybody that sells a course. They sell courses to trainers to teach them how to go online. They're high ticket offers. And I think it's just a money grab, honestly. I think the best trainers are the ones who train in person. Look at the top level athletes. Do they have an online coach? No, they don't. they're training in person. And so a lot of guys who try to make you feel bad because you don't have all your business online. And obviously, I would love that one day, right? I have online clients. I don't have as many as I want, and it's a work in progress. So I guess that's an obstacle for me now to see if I can make that realistic. And it's hard to retain clients online too, and it's hard to bring in new people. I'm not saying it can't be done, and people aren't doing it at all, but that's probably the biggest obstacle, just moving everything online. Granted, I do have a great social media following, so I get paid off of YouTube. I get paid off of my podcast. I get some brand deals, a couple affiliate deals. So I do make money online, but it's not just from strictly training clients, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that is, I've seen that. So being in Austin, it's a very like coach heavy city, not just like
Mhm.
training, but just general, like every type of
Mhm.
coach is here. There's
Yeah.
like all types of life coaches, career coaches, holistic
Mhm.
coaches, wellness
Everyone's a
coaches.
coach now.
And so that means that there are also coaches. Like there are these people who are coaching just coaches. And I
Right.
agree, there is a bit of like, okay, what are you really doing here? Like it
Yeah.
does feel like you're just taking advantage of someone by promising them like, oh, you're going to make, 50K a month. This is going to be easy for you. And
Yeah.
then you get them to pay you however much to do your
Mhm.
program. So they're definitely there are, I'm sure, legit people doing that, but then at the same time, I think some of it is like high promises that
Yeah.
don't always play out.
Yeah. It's tough, man. And like I said, I'm not trying to throw shade at anyone, but the reality is if you want to build anything, it's going to take some work. It's no miracle and something that's going to happen overnight. It's just the reality of it.
That's
Yeah.
very true too. And that's the thing that I think a lot of people get sold on is like, oh yeah, I can just do that. Like it'll just be 3 months and then have a full client load. And it's like, no, this takes like years to build up, that
Takes
kind of
time.
thing.
It takes time. And so I'm thankful for the clientele I do have in person.
Hmm.
And I'm not so quick to throw it away, and I'm doing what works for me, Don't fix what ain't broken.
Do you have a gym that you're allowed to train out of, or how do you manage that?
Yeah, so there's a gym I go to, and basically I just pay them to train there. They take a monthly fee out of my account every weekend, and it's a 24-hour access gym, so I can go in there whenever, and I can train as much as I want to. So my clients just have to have a membership. So that's pretty much it. Yep.
All right,
Yeah,
man.
man.
What does your dream life look like?
Dream life. This is a great question, man. I still want to be in fitness or strength and conditioning some type of way. Have my own facility, like my podcast intro you saw. Have that. I would like to have my clothing there. Definitely want to have a beautiful family, beautiful wife, beautiful kids. I want at least two kids. A three or four would be nice, but I'm 32, still don't have any yet. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I still got plenty of time left for that. But I think my dream life is just, doing what I love and, being around my family and still impacting lives, pretty much. I don't know what that's going to look like, but it's going to be something along those lines.
My This is random. My mom was 32 and my dad was 34 when they had my
Mhm.
brother, and then they had
Mhm.
4 kids. So
Oh, wow.
it's like, yeah, you got time.
What number kid are you?
I'm number 2,
You're number two. Okay.
and I
Yeah.
have 2 younger sisters.
Well, hey, in this economy, I'm in no rush. I get out.
Yeah, that's the other thing about being a guy. We have a lot more leeway there. With
Yeah,
women, it's
exactly.
like you gotta get on it. But
Yeah,
yeah, for men, we have a little bit more time.
totally understand.
Um, awesome, dude. Well, look, I appreciate you coming on, Chris, and like walking us through this entire like journey of peaks in college and then going down into the depths of figuring out who you are and then emerging from it. Is awesome
Yeah,
story, dude.
appreciate that, man.
Can you tell people where they can find out? You mentioned like YouTube, the podcast. Can you tell people just all your links everywhere they can find you?
Yeah, C Marty Fit, CMARTY Fit, Instagram, TikTok, X, YouTube, and less brunches, more crunches, like it's written on my hoodie right here, on Apple Podcasts and Spotify if you want the audio form. So go ahead, give me a follow, and I think y'all will love it. I talk about all types of things fitness related, so tap in with me.
Awesome, brother. I appreciate you again. Yeah, I was on your show a couple weeks back and it was a great
Yep.
time. So everyone go
Yeah.
check out his stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure, man.
Awesome, dude.
Thank you,
everybody.
man.